my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. First thing is I noticed that I haven't seen Dottie for the last couple of days. Does anyone know what's going on with her? I don't remember anything additional, so hope she's doing okay. Just a reminder, we're going to be down in Mountain View, Arkansas, and I say we, a whole bunch of us, viewers and the band members, etc. We're going to be down there on October 16th, 17th, and 18th, and come join us if you would like to, if you want to jam or just listen to the music or just hang out down there. It should be a fun time. I have some guests coming today to stay at our Airbnb, and they're bringing instruments to set up, so I'll be doing that this afternoon. And we'll see how that goes, and more than likely you'll see that some of that on the vlog tomorrow, and most likely you'll see an actual video on whatever I'm doing to those instruments coming down the road, hopefully by this weekend. In other news, I saw Itchy Boots' video today crossing through Pakistan again still, but she's headed toward the Afghanistan border, and it sounds like the Afghans have really, doubled down on the women in terms of their rights and things, and she's kind of almost going there, seems like in protest. Boy, it sounds like a dangerous place to go to me. I think it's run a lot by the Taliban and Hamas and things like that. Terrorists, basically, is what I guess. And I can't believe she's going there, but apparently she is. Did you notice all the hassle she's going through to get through the border? Oh, my gosh. I'd just soon be shot in the face. I'm telling you, I don't think I could deal with that, especially in the foreign language and everything on top of it. And it's just it just looks like mass chaos, the whole thing. It would drive me crazy. Well, we finished up the driveway project yesterday, and I was so sore from that this morning and had such a rough night that I just went out metal detecting. Here's a little bit of what I found this morning. Here's the finds from this morning. Not much to talk about. Old piece of twisted barbed wire there. I'm sure that's probably what it was, barbed wire. A square nut with the bolt that's broke off. I first thought this was some sort of a snap, but as it turns out, I'm sure this is a workhorse bit or half of a workhorse bit. These were a two-piece bit that the horse would have in its mouth. Poor old workhorse out there in that rocky ground. I'm sure he worked himself to death. This is weird. It's mostly just rocks and dirt, I guess, but there looks like there's a little piece of metal in it right there. I forget what you call this when you find it like in the ocean where everything's all crusted together. That's basically what it is. It barely gives off a signal. This is just an old bolt and a bunch of nails. That's all I found today. I have no idea what this big thing is. I am sure it came off of some kind of old machinery, possibly a plow or something like that, but I really don't know for sure what it is. But it's heavy, very heavy piece of steel. That's all I had for this morning. And of course, I heard gazillions more signals and just didn't dig them. But I don't know. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to find any good targets. I've dug most all the good targets, I guess, and I keep hashing over the same ground for the most part. But for the most part, if you hash long enough, you'll hear something you didn't hear before. Like everything matters. Like the weather, like the moisture in the ground, the direction you're traveling when you're swinging the detector. Like you can just turn around and go the other way and you'll hear something you didn't hear going the one direction. It's just bizarre how that all works. And that's why people say you never find it all. No place is ever completely detected out. And that's kind of true here too. But I've been over the same ground a lot, so I don't know. I need to start looking for better places on the farm, I guess, or other places on the farm. But I keep trying to hit the same areas where I know there's heavy activity. Well, yesterday afternoon we finished up the driveway project. Here's a look at that. Well, my friends, we have finished this project. The leaves are falling like crazy. In fact, the walnut trees are nearly bare. The oaks still have quite a bit, but the walnut trees lose their leaves early. And of course, that's what you're seeing here is the walnut leaves primarily. But we got her done, man. That was a big job. It's looking good, looking much better. And put it on pretty heavy, pretty thick as we could. Made sure we got good coverage. There's still lots of cracking and things like that, but it is what it is. We got a super low rate when we had this blacktopped, and they guaranteed us to put 3 or 4 inches. I forget what it was now, but they barely put an inch on it. They barely put an inch. If I'm giving them credit with an inch, it's not very thick, but it's lasted 20 years. So, in this condition, of course, but at least it's better than gravel, and it looks pretty good. So it's just like I say, it is what it is. I'm just glad that's done. Now, in the category of I'm not as young as I used to be, this took it out of me yesterday. I'm not kidding you. By the time I got finished, I was so dead I couldn't hardly stand it, and I woke up a number of times just aching in pain last night. That's why this morning I just took off and went metal detecting. I thought that's a low activity, to get myself loosened back up, and that's helped some, but I'm still pretty sore and still feeling it pretty strongly. Hopefully I'll feel better by the time these guys get here with their instruments today, and I can get them set up. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, because I am really sore and stiff. Oh my gosh. That is a lot more work than you might think doing that. We spread, I think, 85 gallons of that stuff on that parking lot to cover it all. That's a lot of parking lot there. I think it was 85 gallons. Anyway, and Sue's feeling it too. She's in bad shape, but I actually did 75% of the spreading myself. She was doing other things. She did some of the spreading, but man, it was tough. It really was tough. Let's go to the comments and see what's going on. Well, we've only got 88 viewers today, so I don't know. It seems like a low turnout today. BH Ringer says, good afternoon from Nova Scotia. Bill Webbs, good afternoon. And Joan Nigan and Ronald Todd says, good afternoon from the West Banks of New Jersey. And Donald Matthews, Itchy Boots is going into another unsafe situation. Boy, is that not the case. Yeah, it really looks sketchy to me at best, especially in Afghanistan. I think the Pakistan thing is borderline sketchy too, but in fact, it's too sketchy for me, but she seems to be doing okay in Pakistan. But man, it doesn't sound like Afghanistan is the place you want to be right now. But that's where she's going. And, on her eventual trip down to Japan, apparently. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Gino Hitch says, hi Jerry and friends, wonderful weather here in Monroe, Ohio. Hope your cold is better. When do you hunt mushrooms again? Well, the mushrooms aren't until spring. Yeah. Excuse me. Wayne Blitz says, good afternoon. Kim Z77, hello from Arizona. And let's see, after we went live, Bill Mumbo is there. Ronald Todd Itchy Boots needs to get out of that part of the world. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. She seems to be handling it okay, but I couldn't. I could not deal with all that chaos at those border crossings. That would drive me insane. It's bad enough. I mean, if it was organized in line and you had to stand in line an hour, that's bad enough. But when it's just like a free-for-all is what it looks like, and it just seems like there's no professionalism in it at all, and everybody's carrying a rifle to boot. It's just nuts. It just seems crazy to me. And Bill Mumble says it's getting dodgy with Itchy Boots. Lawrence Coffey, God bless America again. And yeah, of course, then the government is shut down, apparently. So, I don't care, Republican, Democrat, but one thing I would, if I was running this, I think one of the first things I'd figure out is how do you keep that from ever happening? I mean, it just shouldn't happen, period. Just shouldn't happen. Zero, none, not a chance of it ever happening. That's what I would work for if I was in position. There's no reason for this to ever happen. It's just they use it as some kind of a pawn or some kind of a game. And both sides use it, so you can't slap the hand of one and not slap the hand of the other because they both use it as a tool to get what they want. But it shouldn't be that way. There should be no way to allow this to happen, period. Zero, not a chance. Yeah, and that'd be the first thing I'd fix if I was in there because it's impossible to let this, it's just stupid to let this happen. Absolutely stupid. Again, I don't care. It got nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. It's just a stupid thing that happens in our government that should never happen. Period. Let's see. Yeah, Bill Mumble says she's too braver than me for sure. Me too. But there's no chance. There's no chance I could do what she's doing. Not a chance. Wavy Gravy, my neighbor plans to invent a painkiller pill that would last a week. I said, why not invent one that would last a whole year? And he said, yeah, but that would be a hard pill to swallow. I think he's right on that one. Buzzy Muswell says, Itchy Boots is going to get herself arrested and used as a pawn. Big time prayers, peace. Yeah, it just sounds totally sketchy. And, apparently she says that her as an outside female has more rights than the women that live in the country. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. David Tharp says, I've got a dead battery and I'm giving away no charge. Let's see. Bill Mumbo, Itchy Boots posts a while after she films, so she's in Afghanistan by now. Yeah, I'm sure that's true too. Yeah, she's always a couple of weeks behind. I'm sure you're right on that, but it's still it's crazy. G&P Old Marine Shop. Hi, Jerry. Wow, that's a lot of sealing to do. Have a 12 by 40 front partial area of a 200-foot driveway to seal. Been putting it off for 3 years now. You're really amazing. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's that was just a one-day project, but yeah, it would have been a lot easier to do that one-day project about 10 or 15 years ago. Oh, it's crazy. Now, in other news, and again, you can consider the vlog finished here if you want to, and you can leave, because this does get somewhat political, but again, it's not taking sides so much. It's just, at least that's not the way I see it. Again, it's like the government shutdown. I don't see that as taking sides. I see that as just something should never happen. Well, this next thing I'm going to mention is kind of the same way. Have you heard Pete Hegseth talk yet? I don't know what to think about the guy personally. I never knew him before or who he was or anything about it until he got his job as the Secretary of Department of Defense, now Department of War. Well, I will give him credit for one thing. The guy can make a speech. He is one incredible speech maker. I will say that. He was up in front of all of the leaders of the services, and he talked on a video I saw this morning, and he talked for about 45 minutes, and as far as I could tell, he wasn't using a teleprompter because he was standing in front of the podium, and the teleprompter was behind him, and he was in front of the teleprompter. So he talked and never missed a beat, and it was a pretty inspiring type talk, and I would say this, that it's not good for certain groups of people. I mean, like, in other words, there's no more woke in the Army, according to him. And there was a famous line in a movie years and years and years ago. I can't remember. The guy's name's on the tip of my tongue. He was a famous actor for a while, but then I think he became an alcoholic and pretty much fell out of Hollywood. But anyway, the line was something like, that somebody asked, what are the rules of this fight before we get started? He goes, there ain't but one kind of fight. That's the way Pete Hegseth put it off today. There ain't but one kind of fight. And do you want to be in there with somebody who can just barely pass the exam or the physical thing, or do you want to be in there with guys that meet all of the requirements to be there? Now, me personally, I want to be there with the latter, with the guys that pass all the fitness, all the weight, everything that they have to meet in order to be there. Therefore, certain groups of people, including some women, are not going to be able to maximize that to be in combat. And he made it very clear. I mean, he wasn't mixing any words at all. And as far as I'm concerned, I was standing up giving him a standing ovation the way he was talking. I mean, it was seriously incredible. But and I'll give you an example. And again, this has got nothing to do with politics, in my opinion. It really doesn't. I know everybody makes it political, but that's not the way I see it. There was two guys here helping me out. This was 20 years ago now. From Fort Leonard Wood. We were tearing out one thing and we were doing something else, and I could work circles around both of them. And I'm telling you, in a hand-to-hand combat, I could have knocked either one of them out in 5 minutes or 3 minutes. I mean, I know I could have took them. There's no doubt in my mind. That's how wimpy they seemed. And I'm thinking, these are our best? Well, it don't sound like it's going to be that way much longer. I mean, if you haven't heard this speech that he gave in front of all the leaders, you probably should look it up and listen to it. It was pretty dang inspiring, and he didn't mix any words, and it was black and white. Whew, man, it made me want to get my flag out and wave it. I'm serious. It was unbelievable. So there you go. That's you can call that political if you want to. To me, it's just an observation of how the service is going to change, and change very quickly. Hopefully it'll stay that way, but I really hope it does. No more woke stuff in the service, I can tell you that. Let's see, moving on down here, there's a few popped up. Paul Lanier, hi folks from sunny southeast Louisiana. B.H. Ringer, what's the difference between politician and a snail? One is slimy, a pest, and leaves a noxious trail. The other is a snail. That is for sure. Wavy gravy. Last night I had a dream that I ate a large piece of hard candy with a long piece of licorice attached to it. And when I woke up, my electric alarm clock was gone. Bill Mumbo, she's brave but not stupid. She'll cover her head. Yeah, that's true too. She's no dummy, but on the other hand, it just doesn't sound like a great place to be. David Tharp, it doesn't matter what temperature the room is, it's always room temperature. Man, you're a deep thinker. You know what? I never think about stuff like that. Bo Horn, Hey, from sunny north central Louisiana. Hegseth would have gotten along well with General Patton. Yeah, it's seriously, if you haven't seen the speech, I suggest you look it up. I was going to put a link to it in today's video, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to cover it or not. But I'm telling you what, it made me, I don't know, proud to be an American, I guess. I don't know what else to say about it. It just, you need to listen to the whole thing because I don't know. It's just pretty amazing. And like I said, he did not appear to be on a teleprompter at all, which was impressive to say the least. He seemed like he was just speaking, and he never was a loss for words. He never, doubled back, double talk or anything. I mean, he wasn't stuttering. He just threw it right out there. It was pretty amazing. Scott Roberts, a woman with salad walked past me in the restaurant and said, a cow died so you could eat that beef burger. I said, if you weren't eating its food, he might have lived. Yeah. Hegseth came from News TV, maybe Fox. Yeah, I don't know anything about the guy. In fact, when they first named him, before he had been confirmed or whatever, there was just all kinds of news about him, and I thought, boy, he don't sound like the best choice based on the news that you were hearing. And I still don't really know anything about the guy, but the speech, he can make a speech. I will say that. That is all I'll say about it. He definitely can deliver the speech. And he sounded like he meant it, too. It wasn't wimpy at all. You didn't have to guess which side he was on or anything about that. Now, there were some things that made me think, well, it's kind of a step back, like especially when it came to the women in the service. He just basically said, look, they got to meet the same standards the men got to meet. If you're going to be in combat, do you want your son or your grandson going into, or your granddaughter or whoever, do you want your grandchild going into combat with somebody who doesn't meet the standards? Because, the enemy doesn't give a rip. He going to shoot whoever he sees, and they're going to take over and kill anybody they can kill. Now, do you want your guys to go in with inferior people, or do you want them to go in with the best? And to me, I'll take the best, And he just, it was just black and white. That's the way it should be if you're going to be talking about the service, in my opinion. Hugh O'Connor, after that speech, what is the U.S. up to or planning? Well, I don't know that it didn't sound like they were planning anything. It's peace through strength. You have to be ready. Like lots of people say, turn the other cheek. Well, but the other guy doesn't turn the other cheek. That's the problem. It's just, it doesn't work like that. And, you're making lots of assumptions if you think the world's just going to be peaceful because you wish it would be peaceful. I mean, there's guys like Putin. There's guys like Who Flung Poo up there in North Korea. No. Yeah. You got to be ready. I mean, just go back in history. Go back and look at Pearl Harbor. I mean, it can happen at any time, and you want the best. You want them ready, and you want the best. And to me, that sounds like that's where we're headed. Now, how long is it going to last like that? Only as long as the right people are in control. As soon as you get people in control that don't have that opinion, well, then it'll go a different direction. That's the other sad thing. Let's see. 800th vlog. Yes, that is. I was going to mention that, but, it's just another vlog. But, yeah. Let's see. Scott Roberts. Before the internet, most people thought villages only had one idiot. Wow. We did not have that right. Well, thank you. Is that what you're calling me? Let's see. Some people appear to be professional idiots. Okay. Scott Roberts. I love board games. My favorite is where people put meat and cheese on a board. Some fruit and crackers. I'm excellent at that one. Yeah, me too. Well, I'm with the meat and the crackers and the cheese. I'm good with that. Let's see. Scott Roberts. I grilled a chicken last night. He still would not tell me when across the road. Bill Rhodes says, good afternoon. Thumbs up, everyone. Yeah, if you would, that'd be great. 106 viewers at the moment. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it. I am kind of looking out the window, just wondering if those guys are going to show up and what time they're going to show up with those instruments. And, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, sort of, kind of. But to be honest, I overdid it yesterday, and I'm not kidding you. I am hurting bad everywhere. And that ain't feeling good either. And I'm seriously telling you, they're not feeling good at all. But generally, I can work through the pain and just keep going. But it's getting harder and harder to do every day. I'll tell you that for sure. But y'all take care. We will see you here tomorrow with something else. Thanks for being here.